Now we all know that Mario has always been a platformer game. Sure, some spin-off games went into a different direction, but the name already implies that. So you would expect a lot of obstacle enemies in the game. And the one that we are going to talk about today is the Pokey. The enemy is very spiky and blocks your way, but this enemy has been around for quite a while, and went through a number of changes in that time. So let's see how this enemy changed in terms of gameplay, use, story and design in the more than 25 years it has been around. Pokies are cactus enemies, but you could have expected that. Just look at it, they're like twins. And believe me, those spikes also hurt in real life. They are typically composed of 3 to 5 spherical body segments, and to defeat a Pokey, typically each of those must be destroyed. Now where did they come from? Since they are not actually a Mario enemy, its origin lies elsewhere. Pokies along with Ninjas, Shy Guys, Bob-ombs and Birdo originate from the non-Mario game Yumikoyu Doki Doki Panic, which later became Super Mario Bros. 2. This was a Japan-only video game developed by Nintendo in cooperation with Fuji Television for the Family Computer Disk System to promote its event called Yumikoyu 87. It was later released outside of Japan in an altered format under the name Super Mario Bros. 2. Since the original Japanese Super Mario Bros. Sequel, The Lost Levels, was deemed too similar to the original and too difficult for overseas players. Eventually, the altered Mario version of Doki Doki Panic was released in Japan as well, under the title Super Mario USA. So this enemy wasn't even originally made for the series. It ended up there because of this Japanese game that they transformed into a Mario one. In Super Mario Bros. 2, they will slowly chase after the player and can be defeated by throwing objects at them or picking up one segment at a time. Now the enemy wasn't bad in terms of design, but there was one big problem. They were too easy to defeat. You can just jump on them, pick up their pieces one by one, and it's done. The spikes don't even hurt you. They are great as enemies that completely block your way, but this just ruins the opportunity completely. But luckily enough, this changed in Super Mario World. This time, Pokies are yellow and cannot be defeated in the same way as in Super Mario Bros. 2. Throwing a shell or a grab block at them defeats them all at once, and sliding down a hill at the cactus also works. Another option is Yoshi, who can eat their body segments one at a time. But jumping on them does damage now. This is a great thing, since now it's actually a spiky wall that you need to jump over. This makes them more challenging, especially in groups, so this is a huge improvement, since the previous one was just too easy. Now Yoshi still takes them out without a problem. In my opinion, a bit too easy, since you spam the tongue attack and they're gone in seconds. But he does this with loads of enemies, so it isn't very surprising. Overall, these enemies could be a real challenge to get past in order to finish the level. They were great for slowing down the player. Now you can clearly see that these enemies are made for 2D, since in 3D you can just run past by going around them. But they ended up using them in 3D games as well, and here some changes were made, since otherwise they would be useless. But still, in the first 3D game, they aren't perfect. They are easy to defeat, you just have to hit them. They were pathetic to be honest, and acted like the 2D ones, which didn't work at all. But in the game after this, they made some good changes. A smaller variety of Pokies called Pokey Heads also appeared in Super Mario Sunshine, as well as the normal versions. They both now have flowers on their heads, and to defeat a regular Pokey, Mario must come close to the tall cactus, causing the Pokey to attempt to crush him, as the Pokies are planted to the ground and cannot move. However, the Pokey spikes will get stuck in the ground, and Mario can jump on its head to defeat it. So they tried to counter the dodging of this enemy by letting it fall on the player if they came too close. This is a smart solution to the problem, but sadly enough they ended up a lot easier to defeat and dodge than the 2D version. Now this one, as well as the Pokey Head, ended up being a trap enemy that could surprise the player as well.
Surprise, motherfucker!
There was a reason why they have a flower on their head now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's all a trap.
It's a trap!
If you approach these flowers, a Pokey could pop out and all of a sudden attack you. They did this to make the enemy more unpredictable. Just look at them, they're huge, you would see them from miles away. And this was a problem the Super Mario 64 version had. But this was their solution to prevent this, and it actually works pretty good. Still, these enemies weren't really made for a 3D environment, but apparently, in Nintendo's eyes, it was good enough to also appear in other 3D games, since they were also seen in Super Mario Galaxy, Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario 3D Land. In Galaxy, both the normal and the Pokey Head version returned, but this time you have to spin at their body parts to defeat them. They still pop out of the ground, and are more difficult to defeat than before, since they go back underground from time to time as well. And then out of nowhere, they come back to the surface. I like this a lot, since they are completely different from the 2D version at this point. In Super Mario 3D Land, they are an even bigger pain to deal with, since you need to power up to defeat them, and even jumping on their head doesn't work. Now, the Snow Pokey variant was introduced in Super Mario 3D World, and this was essentially a snow version, so nothing too special. So in Super Mario Sunshine, they weren't perfect for the 3D environment, but after some tweaking, they perfected them, and this is the result. Now, don't worry, of course they also appeared in other 2D Mario games during this time, like New Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. U, and more. Overall, the enemy is very similar to the version from Super Mario World, but they introduced some new things to the enemy as well. One of the first things they added to the Pokey family is an undead boss version, the Mummy Pokey. It attacks by popping out of the ground at different places throughout the battle. Mario or Luigi must jump on its head 3 times to defeat it. The height of how far Mummy Pokey protrudes varies, ranging from 2 to 5 segments including the head. This boss isn't too hard to defeat, you need to perform some precise jumps and that's it. In my opinion, this one doesn't introduce a lot of new or interesting stuff. Although some of its tactics were later on used in the normal versions for Super Mario Galaxy. But this isn't where it ends. No. They even made a special level for this enemy in Super Mario Bros. U called the Perilous Pokey Cave. This cave is filled with Pokeys as the name suggests, and it even has areas where it gets dark, making it extra hard. The level's completely built around the enemy, so it fits perfectly. So in the main series games, we saw quite a lot of different types and forms of Pokeys, but the spin-off games actually did something interesting as well. And one series of games in particular had a lot of new spin-off versions and bosses, the Yoshi's Island series. The traditional Pokeys appear for the first time in the series in Yoshi's New Island, while only variations of them appeared in the previous games. Like Cactus Jacks, they are large spike-covered Pokeys with targets on their chests. They can be moved if Yoshi throws an egg at them, and if they come into contact with anything when rolling, they explode and shoot out coins. So this is a bit of a weird one. It's more like a grenade than a Pokey, but there's more. A Blowhard is a Pokey that fires needle noses, which are also Pokey variants, and the list goes on and on and on. But there's one I want to talk about especially, Punky the Pokey Prince, one of the bosses. He starts out as a normal Pokey, but is then enlarged by Kamek's hammer. He attacks by spitting needle noses and ramming into the player. You can hit him by hitting his segments with eggs when the spikes aren't out. And he gets more difficult the more you damage him. Now this has to be the most difficult Pokeboss of them all. He can be a bit of a pain and actually takes some time to defeat. So the Yoshi series added loads of Pokey variations. You can actually see more variations than normal ones. And surprising enough, the same happened in the Paper Mario series. Here we also saw loads of variations, but on the other hand, this had to happen for the turn-based combat as well. We even saw a boss in one of the more recent games, Tower Power Pokey from Paper Mario Sticker Star. This one used to be a normal Pokey as well, but thanks to Kamek and his royal sticker, it transformed into a powerful monster. So by the looks of it, these enemies never possess any special or extraordinary power by themselves. They always receive it from someone. A bit strange. Well, apparently some beings are made for powers, and others totally not. Now you would think this is where it ends. It's just a simple Mario enemy, and not even one of the most important. He doesn't even have any power on his own. Why would Nintendo care about him? Well, think again. They even appeared in various Zelda games such as The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening and The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. If Link strikes them with his sword, sections of their body will fly off. So they are a bit like the ones from Super Mario Galaxy. So these enemies have been in so many franchises, some of which I had no idea of. The mighty Pokey is more important to the world of video games than we all think. Thanks for watching everyone, I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like. If you want to watch more, click the annotations on the screen right now and tell me in the comment section what you think about this video.